Do we need a microphone? No. No need microphone. You're talking about microphone?
No, for you, like...
No need. Why?
Okay.
There's only a small group.
Okay.
Sri Krishna
I don't want how to translate it.
Yes, I can.
Or they're going to sit near to you.
Yeah, that's the one like if I sleep in that way. Русский Анастасия, радио есть у вас?
Спасибо. Конечно.
Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Jataha Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Tam Sadivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanitamscha Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangam Langayate Girim Yat Kripa Tamaham Vande Shri Gurun Dinataranam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Yevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Namo Mahavadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namni Gaura Chishe Nityanandam Namastubhyam Prem Ananda Pradayami Kalo Kalamashanashaya Janava Pataye Nama Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta Rupa Swarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Paripriye Vrindai Tulsi Devai Priyai Keshavasya Krishna Bhakti Prade Devi Satyavachai Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. First of all, I'm offering my unlimited Dandavat Pranams and my Shraddha Pushpanjali at the lotus feet of my most worshipful, beloved Diksha and Siksha Gurudevs, Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata, Sri Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada, and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sri Dhara Goswami Maharaj, and Nitya Lila Pravishta Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Astatarasata Sri Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. I offer my unlimited Dandavat Pranams to the lotus feet of all of my Siksha Guru Varga, and my Rupanuga Guru Varga. And on this day, which I'm informed is the appearance day of Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Vana Maharaj, I've been invited to also pay my homages to him and to speak some words about his extraordinary qualities and also Guru Tattva, because we must understand what is the Tattva of Guru, and then we can be successful in our spiritual lives. So, and my Dandavat pranams to all the Vaishnavas, to all the Vaishnavas, and to all the devotees who are also watching on this Zoom call, and who will watch on YouTube and so forth. Yes, so I will tell when I first met Pujapad Vana Maharaj. Actually, it was 1994. 1994. Oh, you're translating for him?
Yeah, because he don't know English.
Oh, okay. So we have more than one language going on. Okay. So in 1994, I came to Vrindavan for the first time to attend the Braj Mandala Parikrama of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Goswami Maharaj. I see through. Oh, this is the first time that I was becoming familiar with the Mat, Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, and also not only Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, but also the inhabitants of Sri Keshavji Gaudiya Mat. So, at that time, actually I had visited Keshavji Gaudiya Mat in 1988. Yes, that was 6 years before. And I had brought a donation from America for Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayana Maharaj, because he was at that time trying to build the Rup Sanatan Gaudiya Mat in Sevakunj. So I brought a donation combined together from a number of devotees who were collecting for that seva. So then I stayed for 3 days with him at Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, and then after that I flew to Calcutta, and then I came to Navadvip Dham, and I visited with my Siksha Guru, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar. It was 1988, January, like this month. And so in 1994, now I came again with a number of followers of Srila Narayana Maharaj at that time. And we came at Keshavji Gaudiya Mat 1 month before the month of Kartik. So I was able to stay for more than 2 months there in Vrindavan, in Mathura. So when I was staying there at the Keshavji Gaudiya Mat, and then also day after day, we began to go on Brajmandala Parikrama. And I became familiar. With some of the other Vaishnavas who were residents of Keshavji Gaudiya Mat. I had already met Sripad Madhav Maharaj, because when I came in 1988, his name was Naveen Krishna Brahmachari, and I had his association at that time. But I didn't know any of the others. So now in 1994, I'm meeting some of the stalwart brahmacharis who were living over a period of years in the Keshavji Gaudiya Mat. Yes. And one of them was Subal Saka Das Brahmachari. Another one was Shubhananda Das Brahmachari. And a few others also. Oh, I also met Rasananda Das Brahmachari at that time. So obviously these personalities, they became Bhaktivedanta Vana Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj, Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj, and of course Naveen Krishna Brahmachari became Bhaktivedanta Madhava Maharaj. So those...
Shubhananda,
Yeah, Shubhananda.
not Trivikram.
What?
Shubhananda became Tirtha Maharaj.
Yes, became Tirtha.
Trivikram Maharaj. You said Trivikram Maharaj.
Did I? Oh, okay. He became Tirtha. So, and there were some others also, other brahmacharis. And I began to notice, because our Gurudev would call on them to stand and speak sometimes during the parikramah. And I came to understand that these brahmacharis had been very, very well trained in Shastra, and also very strict in sadhana bhajan. I heard even from them that they were fortunate enough to be trained directly by Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj. So, and he gave more than one class daily in that period of time in the late 80s and the early 90s. So, this was my first encounter, and I was quite impressed. Of course, I was actually senior to all of them. Yes, by initiation and by coming to my guru, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, I joined in 1970. And all of them, they came after. So actually I'm senior to them. By initiation and also by coming to guru. But I consider them to be senior to me by Vaishnavata, by their qualities and their seva and their preaching and so forth. So I'm just a tiny little jiva, tiny little fallen soul that somehow or other I received the mercy of my Gurudev, and I became a Vaishnava when I was 18 years old. So I'm very fortunate in that regard. And so, but not only did I meet those brahmacharis, but I also met various disciples of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. And they were godbrothers of Srila Narayan Maharaj, like Pujapad, Param Pujapad, Bhaktivedanta Trivikram Maharaj, and quite a number of others. So, for the next years, from 1994 until around the year 2000, 2001, every year I would be at the Braj Mandala Parikramah, and I would be seeing Gurudev along with his godbrothers, and especially Srila Trivikram Maharaj. So we came to know them quite well and to appreciate their association. And in the year 2000, here in Navadvip Dham, Gaur Purnima time, and we were at the Devananda Gaudiya Math. This month was not built at that time. And that year, on Gaur Purnima Day, there was an initiation, a sannyas initiation ceremony of, I don't remember the exact number, but at least 10 Vaishnavas received sannyas, both from Srila Vana Swami Maharaj as well as Srila Narayan Maharaj. Both, they received sannyas from both of them. And they heard the mantras from both of them. And amongst that group was Pujapad Vana Maharaj, Pujapad Tirtha Maharaj, Pujapad Madhav Maharaj, and a number of others. And there were some persons who were also godbrothers, like the uncle of Vana Maharaj. He became Madhusudan Maharaj. Yes. Now he's passed away, I heard. Yes. So there was a very beautiful photo taken of all of them standing on the veranda next to Srila Vana Maharaj's room. There. So now from that point on, Vana Maharaj began to travel. I'm not sure exactly which year was his first year
97.
going out of India. What?
97.
97, that's right. And he used to travel with Prem Prayojan also. Yes, he traveled with Prem Prayojan, went to some countries. But then after, in the 2000s, then he began to go down to South America to preach there, and also touring other countries. So I would have his association periodically, because our Gurudev was now traveling all over the world, traveling in the West. So in both the parikramas, every year, Kartik Parikrama or Purnima Parikrama, and then meeting them sometimes in various countries, I would have association with these personalities. Also, Pujapad Tirtha Maharaj began to travel in the West like that. And I know that our Gurudev had very great love for them. That I know very well. I witnessed it many times. Yes. Even I witnessed the first time that Tirtha Maharaj, this was actually before he took sannyas, in 98, we went to Fiji Island, in the South Pacific. And there, Srila Gurudev stayed for 3 weeks, and he had programs on 3 different islands. We had the first program, there was a big gathering. Most of the people there are from Indian descent, but they're born in Fiji. So for a couple of generations, 2-3 generations. But Gurudev was able to also lecture in Hindi language. And also English, mixed Hindi and English. And I remember the first time that Shubhananda Brahmachari was called on to stand and speak in that assembly. And this was really his first time speaking outside of India. And I remember I was up on the stage with Gurudev, sitting, and I was watching Gurudev's expressions on his face as Shubhananda Brahmachari began to speak. And from the corner of Gurudev's eyes, tears came. And I understood at that time what kind of special love and affection he had for those brahmacharis who had been with him in the early period, who were personally trained by him, and so forth. So Pujapad Vana Maharaj is one of those personalities, and I've witnessed hundreds of times when he has been called on to speak to the assemblies, right, in front of Gurudev, and how learned and how excellent was his Harikatha. And after Gurudev's departure from this world, after his Samadhi in 2010, then also we were all traveling and preaching in various countries, just like when Gurudev was present. We continued also traveling and preaching all over the world. And I would meet from time to time Sripad Vana Maharaj sometimes in America, sometimes in Russia, at festivals and so forth. In Altai festival in Russia. He came, I think at least 1 year he came that time. So, and then one thing that I also began to notice, and I can say this, I noticed that there was a special kind of mood that his disciples had for him as he began to initiate, especially the Western devotees and also Russian devotees and others. And I noticed that they had very intense love and affection for him. To this day, of course, I'm seeing that. And I've also observed his, his sadachar, his personal practice. And I've always been impressed. He is completely fixed on Krishna all the time. All the time. There's no gaps. There's no gaps. There's no relaxation, mundane relaxation. No. He's completely focused. So I consider him to be one of the worthy and qualified servants of our Guru Varga. And I'm honored to have the opportunity to give some small glorification for him on his appearance day. So he appeared, I'm understanding he appeared on the Ekadasi day. This is the same tithi.
This is the sun calendar.
Huh?
From the sun calendar, this is his birthday.
Oh, the sun calendar.
But moon calendar,
Yeah.
according to moon calendar, it's one day. He appeared 1 day before Sripad, Srila Vana Swami Maharaj's appearance day,
Okay.
and Vana Swami's disappearance day.
And whose disappearance day?
Vana Swami Maharaj's appearance and Srila Gurudev Narayan Maharaj's disappearance day.
Okay.
It's on the same day.
Yes, yes.
He appeared 1 day before.
Okay.
But because it's close to each other,
Right.
sun and moon, so he's giving us the opportunity to just celebrate, to glorify Sri Guru.
Okay, I understand.
He's tolerating this.
He's doing on the solar calendar day.
Yeah, he's tolerating this.
That's all.
Then we are doing it like this.
Yeah. I do a similar thing with my disciples. Because I'm born by the Tithi, by the moon calendar, on the same appearance day as my Guru Maharaj, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. I'm born on his birthday, which is the day after Janmashtami. So, but my sun calendar is the August 13th. So I let my disciples have some ceremony on that day, because on my Guru Maharaj's appearance day, no way I'm going to have somebody worship me and glorify me on my Guru Maharaj's appearance day. You know? So, okay. Pujapad Bhatt Maharaj, very auspicious. And he's also born in Vaishnava family, Bengali Vaishnava family. Where is his birthplace? Is it the same village, Panihati, of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj? Oh, sorry. No, Panihati, the same place where Nityananda Prabhu had his festival, Chiradahi festival. Oh, but the name of his village is Panihati. Do you know the district? Which district in Bengal? Mednipur.
Yeah, I think yes.
So is that the Panihati that's on the Ganga? Just
You can watch it in my website. I'm saying Nancy Valley, and I can watch. Please give me, I can find.
okay.
Just in this little detail to get this right.
Okay, please. I don't know my website.
Nam Seva Devi. Nam minus Seva Devi.
Maybe I can check directly on your devotion. Maybe you can write this.
So, what are the qualifications of Sri Guru? This is a very important topic. It is called Guru Tattva. What is the Tattva? The word Tattva means reality, truth, or a principle of truth that is eternal. Tattva. So, Guru Tattva is one of the many different tattvas that the Gaudiya Vaishnavas study and become very learned in these areas. Just like, for example, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur told that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he manifested the understanding which is called Das Mool Tattva, the 10 principles, Das Mool Tattva. Those 10 principles, they comprise the entire philosophy of the Vedas, the essence of the whole philosophy of the Vedas. So, but in addition to those 10, or included in those 10 principles, tattvas, Guru Tattva is included in them. So what does Guru Tattva mean? Yes, you found it?
It is, as she said, in Medinipur,
Yes.
Medinipur district in West Bengal, and close to the Pada of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Pichlada. I'm sorry.
Pichlada.
Pichlada. The
Okay.
name is Chaitanya.
Oh, okay.
Pichlada.
Okay, so it's a different Padihati than the one I was thinking of.
Pichlada.
The Pichlada is the name of the village?
No, this is the food
Oh, yeah,
impressions.
yeah.
Called
And it's
Pichlada.
near to there. Okay. Mendipur.
Medinipur.
Yes.
Okay.
So, I'm going to read a couple of verses from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. First chapter, Adi Leela. Right in the very beginning of the entire book, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he's explaining Guru Tattva. In fact, the first 2 words of the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita, the first shloka and the first 2 words, what are they? Vande Gurun. Gurun means plural number gurus, not singular. Not Vande Guru means singular, but Vande Gurun means plural. So Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, in the first shloka, he's identifying 6 different important categories of the Supreme Lord. Vande Gurun, Isha Bhakta, Isham, Ishavatarakan, Tat Prakashamscha, Tat Chakti, Krishna Chaitanya Sangyakam. So this is the introductory verse of the whole Chaitanya Charitamrita. And there he has identified 6 different categories of worshipable personalities. First, Vande Gurun, because without Guru has to come first. No one can directly approach Krishna. That is not possible. Why? Because Krishna is the Supreme Lord, who manifests in unlimited ways, unlimited forms, unlimited incarnations, unlimited expansions. But one of his expansions, in fact, his first expansion, is his very self, Baladev, Balaram. Balaram is Krishna. He's non-different in every way, except he has some special other qualities in him. But he's actually Krishna. What's the proof of that? What is the proof that Baladev is actually Krishna? Well, first of all, who danced the Rasalila dance in Srimad Bhagavatam? Krishna. Krishna danced Rasa dance with all the gopis, Srimati Radha. But who else danced Rasa dance in Srimad Bhagavatam? Balaram. Balaram also came to Braj after Krishna had gone to Mathura and Dwarka. And now he came to Braj to appease the extreme separation mood of the gopis especially. So, for 2 months he remained. That's also coming on our calendar. The Ras Leela full moon night of Balaram. So in Chaitanya Bhagavat, in the first chapter also, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, the author, who's an incarnation of Vyasadeva, he's also glorifying Balaram Nityananda, because he's the disciple of Nityananda. So, he's glorifying Nityananda Balaram. Very beautiful glorification. So, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is also glorification of the Tattva, of Baladev Tattva, and Nityananda Tattva. So, what is especially highlighted is that who is the source of all the other incarnations and all the different expansions of Krishna? Krishna does not directly expand as all the various incarnations. He first expands as Balaram. Balaram expands as who? Sankarshan. Mool Sankarshan. Where is that expansion of Balaram? In Dwarka. Just like Krishna personally expands as who? Vasudeva Krishna. When the son of Maharaj Nanda, Krishna, Yashodananda, Krishna, in Braj, when he apparently leaves Braja Vrindavan on the chariot of Vakrura. But that Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda and Mother Yashoda, he never leaves Vrindavan, ever. He never has, he never will. He never takes one single footstep out of Vrindavan. That statement is there in the Shastra. Vrindavana prityaja padam ekam nagachati. Not one single footstep does he go out of Vrindavan. So then who is it that went on the chariot of Akrura out of Vrindavan to Mathura, to Dwarka? Who is it? It's Vasudeva Krishna. And the expansion of Baladev called Sankarshan. Sankarshan, Baladev. So those two forms, Sankarshan and Vasudeva, they reside in Dwarka. And from Dwarka, they expand because there is also Dwarka in the Nityadam, in the eternal spiritual world of Goloka Vrindavan. Dwarka and Mathura are outer parts of that planet. The beautiful lotus flower shaped planet, which is the highest place in the whole creation. The inner part the core of the lotus, that is Braja, eternal, Nitya Braj. But it is also Shvetadvip. That Braja has two parts in the middle of the lotus flower. That means Goloka, Goloka Braj, and Shvetadvip Braj. So in Goloka Braj, who is there eternally? Exactly the same personalities who descended to this earth planet with Krishna when he descended 5,000 years ago. Krishna brought all of his associates to this earth from there, from Goloka Braj. And also, on the other side of Braja is Shvetadvip. And what is that? That is the eternal Navadvip Dham. She likes very much Navadvip Dham. She told me that today. We all like Navadvip Dham. But Navadvip is part of Braj. So that's why there is no difference between this Homa Vrindavan and Homa Navadvip Dham. No difference. They are both identical abodes. So when Krishna descends to this world and performs his Homa Lila, his earthly pastimes, then in Braja, in Vrindavan, he is there as the son of Maharaj Nanda. But when he leaves Vrindavan and then he goes to Dwarka and Mathura and Dwarka, then he becomes who? Vasudev Nandana, Devaki Nandana. And from his situation in the Nityadam, there is also the Dwarka and Mathura are there in the Goloka Vrindavan planet. And from that planet, then both of these personalities expand. Particularly, Sankarshan Balaram expands into the Vaikuntha planets. And in the Vaikuntha planets, innumerable Vaikuntha planets, he expands, first of all, as Mahasankarshan. First in Dwarka, Mool Sankarshan. Then Baladev becomes Mahasankarshan. And the first Chatur Vyuha expansions come from him in Vaikuntha. So those Chatur Vyuha means the four Vishnu forms. They're eternal Vishnu forms. They expand as Vasudev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Anibrata. Those are the eternal expansions, and they come from Mahasankarshan. Then, from the Vaikuntha planets, innumerable expansions come from those original four. And they become situated on all the different Vaikuntha planets. And who also expands? Srimati Radhika. As Lakshmi Devi, expanding in the Vaikuntha planets. So the expansions in Vaikuntha are originating from this Mahasankarshan. But now, another section of our creation, it's considered to be 1/4 of the entire creation. 1/4 of the entire creation. What is that? This material, universes, coming from the Mahat Tattva. This whole Mahat Tattva, with innumerable universes also. So, we know that this manifests from Mahavishnu. Mahasankarshan in Vaikuntha expands into the Mahatattva, into the Samudra, what's it called? causal ocean, the samudra. There's a causal ocean between the spiritual world and the material world. And Mahasankarshan expands as Karana Dakshay Vishnu. Yeah, Karana Samudya. Karana means causal. It's the cause, it's the source of everything. Karana Samudra. And he lies down there. Yes. And from him emanates what? From him, from his body, come what?
The universe.
All the universes. And from his breathing, like small little bubbles, they come from his breathing, from the pores of his skin, the universes. You see, the description of the creation in the Bible, God created the world and all of that. This is only in this universe, and this is the sub-creation, not the big creation. Really, it's Lord Brahma. Lord Brahma is in each universe, and he's creating the planets and so forth. So the conception of God in the Bible is really Lord Brahma. But the conception of the supreme absolute truth, the source of everything, is clearly described in the Vedic knowledge only, nowhere else. No one will ever learn about the entire creation except from the Vedas. So, when Mahavishnu creates the universes, which are very, very big, so we can imagine how big he is. It's beyond our conception. And also, time, the time factor. Like here we measure time. Day and night, weeks, months, years, right? But we have our earthly time. But in the upper planets, in Lord Brahma, his time is much bigger than ours. You see? But he also lives for 100 years. But his 100 years, if we're calculating an earthly time, are how much?
One of his days is 100 years of ours.
One of his days, what?
100 years of ours is 1 day of Brahma.
No.
No? Much more.
No. 100 years of ours is 1 day of Brahma? No.
1 day of Brahma,
No.
8 billion 640 million.
One kalpa, 1 day of Brahma is 8,640,000,000 years. And not 100 years of our time. No, Brahma, a kalpa means his day. So he has 360 days in his year, just like we have also here. And then he lives for 100 of those years. So if you take a calculator, you have to have a very big scientific calculator. Our little calculators won't work for this. But his let's just say, it's more than, if I remember correctly, 500 trillion years. His 100 years is 500 trillion of our years. Okay? So just one of his days is 8.6 billion years. One of his days. So my point that I want to make is that time is also relative. To who? Mahavishnu. Mahavishnu is the source of all material time. And then he expands into each universe. Mahavishnu expands into each of the millions upon millions of universes. There's not just a few. There's millions of universes. We're in this one universe. We're in this one universe, which is a quite tiny universe. How do we know it's tiny? In Chaitanya Charitamrita, Lord Brahma wanted to come to Dwarka one time and to have darshan of Krishna. So when he came to Dwarka, then the gatekeepers, they asked him, "Who are you?" "I'm Brahma. I'm the Brahma of this universe." So then that gatekeeper sent the message to Krishna, who was sitting on his throne in a huge assembly hall, in his palace. Huge. And then they informed him, Lord Brahma from our universe has come to see you. He wants to have your darshan. Then Krishna told that messenger, "Ask him which Brahma he is." So then the messenger went back and asked him that our Lord, Krishna, is asking which Brahma you are. And then he said, "I'm the Brahma of this universe." So then the messenger went back and told Krishna. So then Krishna said, "Okay, bring him. Bring him." Now Brahma came into the assembly hall. Now this is not an ordinary assembly hall. This is a transcendental assembly hall, completely capable of expanding unlimitedly. So when Lord Brahma came in to the assembly hall, then Lord Krishna saw him, and then Lord Krishna called for all the Brahmas of the universe, of the various universes, to come before him. And immediately, from all the different universes, hundreds and thousands of Brahmas came there into the assembly hall. And our Brahma, who has 4 heads, he saw all these other Brahmas. Because the size of the Brahma in the universe is according to how big the universe is. Some universes are much bigger than others. So when he saw his 4 heads was looking, and all these Brahmas were there, they were huge. He was like a little ant in comparison to an elephant. Some of the Brahmas had 10 heads, some 100 heads, some hundreds of heads. And when they came into the assembly hall, all of their heads had like golden helmets. And they all simultaneously paid obeisances to Krishna with their crowns touching and the huge sound came from all their crowns touching the floor. So then Krishna asked all the Brahmas, "So, is everything okay in your universe?" All of them said, "Yes, my Lord, yes. Everything is going on by your mercy." And then he dismissed them. He said, "Okay, now you can return." So in this way, Lord Brahma learned about how small he is. Now, our universe is very big. We can understand how big it is in the 5th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. But just with our eyes, we see that we look at the sky, and we look at the stars, and we look at the moon and the sun. It's very big. But we can't really imagine how big it is. And also, the time factor. Again, I'm mentioning the time factor. Our 100 years, like for example, each insect that we see, they also live for 100 years. Did you know that? Did you know that? According to the species, each species has 100 years lifespan, just like us. Of course, this is Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga lifespan is even shortened. And in previous yugas, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, even 100,000 years in Sati Yuga. But still, these years are earthly time. Earthly time. So, but the insects have a different time scale, because they only live for a few days. But to them, those few days is 100 years. They experience it like 100 years. And then when they go into the body of a fish, 100 years. Then they go into the body of birds, animals. So, now we have to think about Mahavishnu and his time, because all time comes from him. So in our universe is existing for trillions of years, not billions, trillions. But for Mahavishnu, he exhales, and the universes come out. Then he inhales, and all the universes enter. And that's his time of simply breathing. And that is trillions of our years. So is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is he understandable by our tiny little human brains? Never. That's why Achintya Kaluye Baba Natam Starkena Yojaya. Achintya means you cannot think about it even. You cannot. It is inconceivable. But really, the whole creation is inconceivable. One time, my Guru Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, he was talking about how every species of life, they all have their own particular mystic power. Mystic power. Just like yogis, they have mystic powers. Why is it called a mystic power? Because it's mysterious. Because you can't understand how they do it. Just like yogis, they can walk on water. They have 9 different types of siddhis, yogic siddhis, perfections. They can take something from far away and bring it to them, anywhere on the planet, like this. They can also leave their body and enter through the rays of the sun into the sun planet. Like this. Anima, Lagima, Prapti Siddhi. 9 different mystic powers. But Srila Prabhupada was explaining that each species of life is endowed with their own type of mystic power, which is unique to them. So, for example, the dogs. The dogs have a couple of mystic powers. One of the mystic powers is that they can hear sounds which are very high-pitched, that humans cannot hear. That's a mystic power. Another mystic power is that if a dog is sleeping and it is suddenly woken up, in a single moment, he's completely awake, 100%. But a human being cannot be 100% awake in a single moment when they wake up. It takes some time to wake up. But a dog has the mystic power And I tested it the other day. There, my window faces the road, and I had some water that I wanted to throw. I usually throw it on the tree outside of my window. But this time I saw the dog lying there, and it was the daytime, the sun was shining, and I thought, let me play a little trick on this dog. So it was like a pot full, and I threw it like that. Then it came down. Immediately he was awake in a single moment. And he looked around, and then he walked to another place and also went to sleep again. So the birds have mystic power, insects have mystic power, even trees have mystic power. Can you live by the sun rays? Can you take nourishment from the earth? No. The earth has to be transformed into food. You cannot take from the sun rays. Of course, our bodies utilize the sun rays for health. But the trees, they can produce everything through photosynthesis. You see? So like this, the creation of the Lord is very mysterious. Can we understand how it is that in the sky, every morning, this beautiful reddish-colored ball rises in the horizon? Looks very beautiful, perfectly round. And then gradually it becomes more bright, more bright, more bright, until you cannot look at it anymore. And it does this exactly on schedule, moves across the sky every day for billions and trillions of years. Exactly on schedule. Down to the second. And even the scientists can calculate it, and they have. And the astrologers can calculate the movements of the sun, the movements of the moon. And these movements are also connected with every jiva. Because the planetary constellations, they are perfectly arranged at the time of your birth, the time when you come out from the womb of your mother. And everything is there in those constellations. What will happen to you in your life? Is that not inconceivable? Not only that, but every single jiva has their karma from millions of lives. Where is that recorded? It's recorded in your subtle body. You have the gross body and the subtle body. But the gross body is finished. Subtle body goes with you. It goes with the soul, with the Atma, to the next body. Subtle body is always with you. We have the same subtle body for billions and billions of years. But it becomes modified according to your karma, according to the body that you inhabit. It becomes modified. So is that inconceivable? Of course. Even the fact that our eyes can see, that we have the power of vision. Have you ever studied what kind of mechanism is there? Connected with our brain, connected with the lenses of our what's it called, the iris. It's absolutely inconceivable. And that the eye is cleaning itself continually throughout our whole life by blinking. How about the birth process? of the living entities. In the mammal species, they take birth from womb. But that incredible process is given to every single species of life, how they can reproduce. How they can reproduce themselves. But they know nothing about what's happening. They simply have an urge to mate with the opposite sex, and then children come out. But did you ever watch, even like for the human, what happens inside of the embryo and the womb? How it gradually grows, how the fingers gradually manifest. It's like watching a plant grow. Who's controlling that? Is the mother controlling it? Huh? No, it's just happening. And no control over it. No control at all. And after a very specific amount of time, when the body is fully formed, now it's time to come out. Who controls that? So what I'm trying to say is that the creation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is inconceivable. Everything about this creation is achintya. So we, conditioned jivas, we are covered by maya, by illusion. We have forgotten who we are. We have come into the material existence of birth, death, disease, and old age. And we are trapped here in a prison house. But what arrangement has been made for us to be rescued from this condition? What arrangement? It has been made by Kirudakshay Vishnu, the third expansion. First comes Karanadakshay, then comes Garbhodakshay, then comes Kirudakshay. So Kirudakshay Vishnu, you know that he's situated on an ocean of milk in our universe. From him comes the incarnations. But also from him, he expands himself into the heart of every jiva as the Paramatma. The Paramatma is his expansion. Yeah. And not only does he expand into the hearts of the jivas, the jivatma, but he expands into the atomic particles also. Lord Brahma told this in the Brahma Samhita. Andantarasta paraman chayantarastam govindamari kurusham tamaham bhajan. Andantarastam paraman chayantarastam. Paramanu in Sanskrit means the tiny atomic particle. Is this inconceivable to us or not? That we can imagine how in every single tiny particle, the Supreme Lord is there. That's why the scientists in the modern day have discovered what they call atomic energy, nuclear energy, and they make bombs to destroy, because it's extremely powerful when that energy is released from the atomic particle. But in former times, in the Vedic times, they also had nuclear weapons. But they were not gross and mechanical like now. Like they have this big bomb, or bomba, the biggest one from Russia, right? And they can't really control how it's going to devastate. But in the Mahabharata war, Kurukshetra, at the end of the war, after the war was already finished, Ashvatthama threw a Brahmastra weapon at the wives the wife of Abhimanyu, who is the daughter-in-law of Arjuna, the wife of Arjuna's son, Abhimanyu. She was pregnant, but he wanted to destroy the last living heir to the throne. So he wanted to destroy the child in the womb. This is in the first canto of Srimad. So Uttara, his mother, she realized that this fiery object is coming and going to enter her womb and destroy the child in her womb. So she began running, Pahi Mam, to Krishna. Save me, save me. This fiery object is coming. What did Krishna do? Immediately, from within her heart, as the Paramatma, he expanded and covered her and her womb. And the Brahmastra was finished. Could not do anything. So that person who was in the womb is Maharaj Parikshit. And when Maharaj Parikshit in the womb saw, he actually saw in the womb that form of Vishnu who came and saved him. So after he was born, he always wanted to find that person. That person I saw in the womb who saved me. Where is he? Where is he? Are you that person? Are you that person? And he began to examine everyone. Therefore he was given the name Parikshit. You know what Parikshit means? The examiner. That's the meaning of Parikshit. So like this. Now I'm coming to the Guru Tattva. This form of the Lord in our hearts, he is called Chaitya Guru. Who is this expanded from? Ultimately, Baladev. Because Baladev is called Akhanda Guru Tattva. He is the original source of all Guru, the principle of Guru. Guru is a principle. And that principle of Guru Tattva is the empowerment coming from Baladev. And when that principle of Guru manifests outwardly, not within the heart, that's called Chaitya Guru, but manifests outwardly, then that is called Shri Guru. And that manifests in the form of a Vaishnava. That principle is the Supreme Lord. And therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has written in his 8 prayers called Gurvashtakam, 8 prayers to the spiritual master. Sakshad haditvena samasta shastra ruptas tatha bhav yata eva sadami kintu prapuya priya eva tasya vande guru sri charanam. That my Guru, I understand him to be directly Hari. Sakshad Hari. What does Sakshad mean? Do you know? Sakshad means directly. Directly. Sakshad Haritvena. Sakshad Haritvena means non-different than Hari. Directly non-different than Hari. Samasta Shastra Ruktastata Bhavyada Eva Sampi. This is stated in all the Shastras. This principle of Guru Tattva is stated in all the Shastras. But then the second line says, Kintu. Kintu means what? Do you know Kintu? Kintu means, like we say in English, but, or however. Okay? Kintu means however. Here's the statement that Sri Guru is Sakshad Haritvena. All the Shastras and all the pure devotees, they are making this declaration. But the next two lines says, Kintu prapuya priya eva tasya. What does that mean? Does anyone here know the meaning of that line? Kintu prapuya priya eva tasya. I know you know. Let me see if they know. No one can tell. Meaning, Kintu prapuya priya eva tasya. He's what? Okay, I'm telling. Although he is Sakshad Haritvena, Sri Guru, but simultaneously he has another identity. He's both directly Hari and also what? Very, very dear. Priya. Priya means very dear. Huh? Just like your name is Shyama Priya. Means dear to who? To Shyam. And who is that? Srimati Radhika. Shyama Priya. So Priya Eva Tasya means that he is very, very dear. Kintu Prapuya. Dear to who? To Prabhu. Prabhu means Supreme Lord. So Sri Guru never thinks of himself. He does not think of himself as being Sakshad Hari. Mayavadis, they think like that. I am Hari, I am Narayan. You see? But never, Vaishnavas never think like that. No. They understand the principle of Guru Tattva, that some sanction, some empowerment has come from Krishna, that I can perform this service. But they always feel themselves to be what? A devotee. This is their only abhiman. Abhiman means how they think about themselves, what they feel themselves to be. But Sri Guru never thinks, oh, I am Hari. But Priya Eva Tasya, he is the most intimate servitor of Hari. Why? Because he's performing what Hari wants. He is rescuing the conditioned souls. He is training the conditioned souls how to become devotees, how to again attain their spiritual perfection. In that sense, he is the dearmost servitor of Hari. And this principle of Guru Tattva is infinite. Is infinite. There is not just one Guru. There are infinite Gurus. My Siksha Guru, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj, I'm telling you something very interesting, what he told. Very interesting. You can find it in his book, the title Sri Guru and His Grace. So in there's one chapter of that book, and it says, The Land of Gurus. That's the title. The Land of Gurus. So Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj is explaining that in the beginning of our spiritual life, in order to begin our spiritual life, we have to come to the feet of a Vaishnava, and we have to submit ourselves. and accept that Vaishnava as our spiritual master and begin the process of doing Guru Seva in our life. So, in the beginning of a neophyte devotee, he begins to experience that yes, my Gurudev is directly manifestation of Krishna for me. Others will not see that. Those who are not his disciples, like his godbrothers, for example. Godbrothers will not see that. Although sometimes a godbrother may also accept his godbrother as Siksha Guru. That may also come. Just like Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj. Many of the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur considered him to be their Siksha Guru, including Bhakti Pramod Puri Maharaj. He considered Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj to be his Siksha Guru, even though Puri Maharaj was senior to him. He came to the lotus feet of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati some years before Sripad Sridhar Maharaj came. You see. But nevertheless, he considered him to be Siksha Guru. So the principle of Guru has two aspects. One is the Diksha Guru, and the other is Siksha Guru. In the first chapter of Chaitanya Charitamrita, this is explained that the Diksha Guru is considered to be the Sri Rupa of Krishna, the form of Krishna, Sri Rupa. But the Diksha Guru is considered to be the Swarupa of Krishna. From the absolute viewpoint, there is no difference between his Rupa and his Swarupa. So Swarupa is referring more to his nature and his qualities, whereas Rupa refers to his actual form, the Supreme Lord. You see, so Siksha Guru ke tajani Krishnara Swarupa. Antaryami Bhakta Shrestha E Dui Rupa. This verse is there in the first chapter of Chaitanya. That Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is writing, Siksha Guru ke tojani Krishnara Swarupa. I know my Guru as the Swarupa of the Supreme Lord. Jani means I know. Krishnara Swarup, the Swarup of Krishna. That Swarup of Krishna, as the Siksha Guru, the instructing Guru, he manifests in two different forms. Antaryami and Bhakta Shrestha, E Dui Rup. These two forms he manifests. As what? Antaryami. Do you know the meaning of Antaryami? Yes. Antar means inside. Antar. Antaryami means the guide. The form of the Lord who is guiding us from within our heart. Antaryami. And Bhakta Shrestha. What does Shrestha mean? Shrestha means the best. Shrestha. The best amongst the bhaktas. This is how a disciple has the vision of their Guru. And specifically in this verse, their Siksha Guru. So, Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru are one principle, but they have some slightly different dealings with the disciple. The dealings are a little bit different. For example, a a father has dealings with his son, but the father's brother, who is the uncle of his son, he has somewhat different dealings. Our Guru Dev used to tell us that all the time. When we, the disciples of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, when we came to the lotus feet of Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Maharaj, then we began to accept him as our Siksha Guru. But he would tell us, and he told me personally, he says, you should see me like your God brother. And then I told him, Guru Dev, how I can see, you're so high, I'm just, no, but you should see me like your God. Why was he telling us that? Because he wanted this informal relationship with us like brothers. Because we are initiated by a disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati as he is. So that makes us God brothers. You understand? That makes us God brothers. From that angle. So he always encouraged us to have that kind of relationship with him. But also as Siksha Guru. And he used to give us the example. He used to tell us that in the Vedic family, like in the extended family, in a Vedic household, because extended family means that it means that, okay, you've got a group of brothers who also, they live in the same house with their wives. That's called extended family. So now that's a little bit disappearing in India. Like, it's becoming more like the West, where you only have husband, wife, and their children. But in the traditional Vedic family, you also had uncles and aunts who were living, and the children of each one of them is cared for and loved and nurtured by all of them. So they have their own relationship. So Gurudev gave us the example that in a Vedic family, if there's a son who now is going to be married, and that's all arranged in the Vedic family, they find a suitable, and they also check the astrological charts and all of that. And in this way, now the families meet each other before the marriage of the sons and the daughter. Okay, they have families. It's not just the marriage of two people, it's the marriage of an entire family with another family in the Vedic system. So as the boy is growing up and coming to age, then his parents, his father, his mother, they begin to search for a suitable bride, for a suitable lady that will become his wife. So he cannot tell anything to the father that, oh, I don't want that one, I want this one. No. In the Vedic family, not possible. Not possible at all. But he can say to his uncle, oh, Uncle Ji, I like that other girl more than this one. Can you talk to my father? And the uncle can do that. You see, Gurudev gave us this example that the Siksha Guru is more like that, and the Diksha Guru is more like father. You understand? So, but Gurudev encouraged us because of our initiation by disciple of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati. But it was very sweet and very beautiful how we came into his association, but we didn't just come into his association. He had his godbrothers. With our Prabhupada, He was alone. He came to us alone in the West. And it wasn't until years and years later that we even saw any of his godbrothers. But Srila Narayan Maharaj, every year for Kartik, his most intimate godbrothers are coming. And we met so many of them like that. So this is the transcendental Vedic family, he says. So in this way, Chaitanya Charitamrita is quoting in the very beginning, it's probably the first verse that is quoted in the whole book from the Srimad Bhagavatam. And it's quoted from the 11th canto. Subject of Guru. Krishna is telling to who? Uddhava in the 11th canto. And Krishna is telling that, O Uddhava, you should know that the Acharya is my very self. I am the Acharya. Acharya mam vijaniya. You should know that I am the Acharya. Navamanyeta karvichit. You should, a disciple should never disrespect the Acharya in any way. Na avamanyeta karvichit. Not at any time should he disrespect the Acharya. Acharya mam vijaniya. He is me. Then he says, Namartya buddhya suyeta. You should not have martya buddhi towards the Acharya. What does martya buddhi mean? It means thinking that the Acharya is an ordinary human being, that he's a mortal being of this world. Martya buddhi. Na martya buddhya asuyeta. And you should never have any envy. Asuya means envy. You should never envy the Acharya. Sarvadeva Mayo Guru. Guru is the sum total. Sarvadeva Mayo. He is the sum total of all the devas, of all the demigods. So these are the statements of Shastra. And a disciple can only advance if they have a bona fide guru. Then they must develop this mood that my guru is Krishna coming to me. Krishna has manifested and now he's coming to me in this form. So I'm going to end this class with the next point that I'm going to make. Because now it's what time? 7:20. In that book of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj that I mentioned, in that chapter that I just mentioned, the land of gurus, Srila Sridhar Maharaj explains something very wonderful. And there he's explaining that in the beginning of a devotee's spiritual life, they begin to, their vision begins to develop, that they can actually see that my guru is representation of Krishna for me. You see? That Krishna has arranged. He has come in the form of my guru to save me. So that vision of the disciple is essential. But in the Kanishta level, Kanishta Adhikari, there are Kanishta, Madhyam, and Uttam. In the Kanishta level, that vision is somewhat restricted. That he can recognize my guru, but he does not have the same vision to see that in others. And also to see the principle of Siksha Guru. For example, Sri Guru has also many godbrothers, god sisters. So, and they are also advanced more in bhakti. So the disciple, as he advances in bhakti, then he begins to, his ability to see Guru Tattva begins to expand so that he can now accommodate the Guru principle in others also. Yes, I have my Guru, but also there are others who are also acting as Guru for me. You see? Like god brothers of my Guru, or like that. So other senior Vaishnavas, they are also like Guru. Then Srila Sridhar Maharaj explained that Guru principle, it continues to expand. And in the Madhyam level, now he sees that I have so many Gurus. Just like, for example, our very revered personality, who also became one of our Siksha Gurus, and he has left this world, as Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj. So, Bhakti Vigyan Bharati Maharaj wrote one beautiful book, and I'm very happy that he wrote that book before he left this world. And the book's title is My Beloved Masters, plural numbers. And what he did in that book was he introduced us to at least about, I think around 25 different personalities who were all disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, whom he met, whom he served, whom he had relationships with. And he accepted all of them as Siksha Gurus. So therefore the book is titled My Beloved Masters. And I read that book throughout the year because some of the appearance days on our Vaishnava calendar are these personalities. So now I can read about them on their appearance days. And therefore it's told, he says this, Srila Bharati Maharaj, he mentions this very, very often, that the appearance and the disappearance days of the Vaishnavas are very essential to observe and to remember and to glorify the Vaishnavas on those appearance days, especially those personalities who are far, far superior to yourself. He says, if we don't, the Vaishnava calendar, then that it becomes an offense to not remember them and to not speak something about them on their appearance or their disappearance days. You see? So, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, now we're coming to the final development. Srila Sridhar Maharaj said, this is very necessary that the devotee's vision of Guru Tattva should continue to expand. It is essential that his vision of Guru Tattva should expand. Otherwise, we cannot advance to the spiritual world. If we only see only our Guru as our Guru, but we don't see others as our Gurus, then we cannot go to the spiritual world. We have to advance. So, advancement of a Vaishnava means being able to recognize who is a Vaishnava. Being able to also recognize and identify what level is that Vaishnava. On what level? You see? So as we advance, then we become more and more capable to discern and to recognize what level Vaishnavas are, and to respect them according to their level. Because if there's an exalted, advanced Vaishnava, but yet we look at him as if he's just some ordinary devotee, then that's an offense. We must properly worship all the Vaishnavas according to their levels, you see. So, now Srila Sridhar Maharaj said that this expanding vision will continue. This expanding vision of Guru Tattva will continue, and when we reach Goloka Vrindavan, when we actually take birth in Baum Leela of Krishna's, in Goloka Vrindavan, then we will have entered the land of Gurus. where everyone and everything is our Guru. Every tree, every insect, everything in Vrindavan is our Guru. And he said, in a kind of interesting way, he said, therefore, when we reach that domain, we do not walk on our feet, we walk on our heads. Why? Because if you touch something that is worshipable with your feet, that's an offense. But everything there is worshipable. And they are all our gurus. And why are they our gurus? Why? Because they are inspiring us and drawing us towards Krishna and Krishna's service and Krishna's pastimes. They are engaging us. So the land of gurus, where everyone and everything is our guru. This is called Guru Tattva. So, while we are here in this world, we have the good fortune that Krishna has arranged for us to have our relationship and our connection with Guru Tattva in the form of our Diksha Guru, in the form of our Siksha Guru, like this. And as we develop in our bhakti and we follow the instructions of Guru, we become submissive and obedient and we hear their instructions, then our consciousness develops, we advance in our bhakti. And through this gradual advancement, we attain the higher stages in the realm of sadhana bhakti. Going through anartha nivritti, nishta, ruchi, asakti, finally bhav. And in the stage of bhav, now we are swarup siddha. Swarup siddha means we've realized our spiritual form, but it has not manifested outwardly. It is internally realized. Then, in the higher stages of bhav, now we are a sadhak of praying. Now we want to attain praying. Actually, bhav is the beginning of praying. Bhav is the beginning of the stage of praying. But when we come to the higher stages of bhav, now praying cannot come in this body. Therefore, we have to be transferred by who? Yogamaya. Yogamaya will transfer us to the very planet in the very universe where Krishna is right now performing his pastimes. Did you know that? That Krishna's pastimes, when he leaves this universe, immediately he's in another universe. And then again, all of his pastimes take place. It's like a traveling road show. You see? And all the associates and the dham and everything, they go with Krishna. So we will take birth there. And there we will have what is called Vastu Siddhi. Vastu means we have our actual eternal spiritual body as either a gopi or cowherd boy, like this. So this is Guru Tattva. And on the appearance day of Pujapad Bhaktivedanta Vana Maharaj, I'm offering my dandavats at his lotus feet and praying for his mercy that I can become one day a very pure Vaishnava like him, and I can do some seva for our Guru Parampara. So, Sripad Bhaktivedanta Vana Maharaj ki jai, Tadiya Avirbhav Mahamahotsav Titi ki jai, Nitai Gaur Pranamandi, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnava.